This is episode 286. Yes, and.
It's the tone control. It's the tone control.
And
this time we're talking about giving more shit away. So you're going to want to get on that.
You definitely want this shit.
You definitely want this shit. What did you get?
What did you get? Maybe that would have been a better title. What did you get?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Problems with Helix leading to AI success. Yes. This show
I typed the notes as we went. Yeah.
And then a couple cool picks and our patrons as always. So yeah, hang out in this episode and learn about those things I just said.
How about that's our catchphrase, right? Hang out in this episode and learn to stick around to learn about those things I just said.
Yeah, that applies to every future episode of the Tone Control.
Yeah, that is operating on our level. I feel like that's pretty good. Okay, anyway.
Great.
Oh my goodness. Hey.
How was your day?
It was fucking bananas. I was a little stressed out. I had all right. I'm going to run through this just as quick and high points as I can. I have an audiobook in here this week, which is why I have my little makeshift booth set up behind me. My background looks a little different. We had a 10 o'clock start time today. This is for Penguin Random House. So I have like a remote producer over Zoom. The author lives in Cincinnati, so they have hired me. I've done a few books for them this way. So I must be like at least one of their go-to studios in Cincinnati. You know what I mean? Because
when you say you've done a few things for them, do you mean the author or
the Penguin
publisher? Okay.
Yes, for them. And so, there's a procedure. There's a bunch of people on an email chain, and there's all these like official emails and stuff. I do my setup this morning. I kind of get everything together. 10 o'clock is perfectly comfortable start time, right? I got time to. I start. I put the document on an iPad, my daughter's old iPad, which is now an e-reader for authors.
A studio iPad.
Exactly, and I'm like, it's like 10 minutes before she's supposed to arrive, and I kind of getting that done. I was kind of fretting too because that iPad had to be reset, and it was like, oh, you have to sign in. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't do this ahead of time, Fuck. So I'm like, fine, sign me in. Here's my iCloud. I get the thing on, and I'm like, it's like the PDF that they've sent has the print markings. You know what I mean? It's like the 4-print PDF, which means the text is a little small. And I was like, okay, whatever. I don't have time to think about this. Hopefully that's not an issue. So I realized she's not here. It's like 5 minutes before. And I'm like, she didn't say anything. She has my contacts because we're all in the email thread, but I realized I've never had direct contact with this lady yet. And I should have, you know what I mean? Like I shouldn't be relying on Penguin to pass my info. So I start typing an email, hey, just in case you're having trouble finding it, it's my studio's a residence, you know what I mean? I'm attached to my house.
Okay,
There's no sign. This is stuff every time.
She might have driven by and been like, what? Yeah.
When I have a client come to my house, at the moment where we book things, I make it a point to explain all this. I don't have a sign. I don't take walk-ins so that's not weird. I didn't do that with this lady, which is super duper on me. And I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah, but publisher. Okay. Yeah.
So then I look out the window and she's ringing the doorbell, and I'm like, okay, great. She's here. I step out and I'm like, okay, all's well. She made it. I step out to let her in, and she's on the phone. I hear her telling somebody how she's not sure she's in the right place, and she's clearly fretting. And I'm like, great. So I screwed up, right? I made this lady feel uncomfortable. She doesn't know where she is. She's turning up. So she got there 10 minutes ago and was sitting around calling people, not knowing what to do.
Am I in the right place?
Right. And so she's freaked. Now we're starting the morning. She's freaked out. She's like, this isn't how it's been when I've done these before, It's
coming in with the wrong energy.
I'm giving off not pro. You know what I mean? Like I'm
yeah.
having her turn up to this place that's like a house and she wasn't expecting a house because I didn't tell her to expect a house, right?
Yeah.
And my setup's like something I put up in my room here, you know what I mean? It's not there all the time. It doesn't have a glass, it's not have a glass
Right.
window,
It's not a
you know.
booth.
It's
not
not
a
a
real booth,
it's not a true booth. It's you know, I put up really high quality work, but you know, I'm working out of my house and I also kind of think in the back of my mind like why does Penguin keep hiring me for stuff that's in Cincinnati if there's a more pro place they could be, right? And I kind of think it's because they went out of business, probably, you know? You know what I mean? The other places that they used to use.
Yeah.
Not that I need to like wave my dick around at anybody about that, but I'm thinking, you know, I'm not saying that. I'm thinking it like,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
but I can't say
Well,
trust
it's a little
me.
bit of like, why me? But also
Yeah.
like, you kind of want it to speak for itself, you know?
I do, and I don't like giving that first impression is wrong.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, now I have to say trust me. I don't want to have to say trust me. I want people to be like, you know, I want it to be there already, you know. And so
Yeah,
I'm like, okay. So the chair's not right. I'm like, my table's the wrong height. Like things aren't right. She doesn't have one of these big music stands that she's used to. She doesn't have the mic hanging over her head like she's used to. It's not like things aren't quite right, and she's feeling it. She notices the text is real small in the PDF. We messed around with the iPad for a while. I can't find any way to blow it up because it's like a PDF
it's
that's
a document.
Like,
it's not
like an image. It's not the type where you can just adjust it. And the producer's on Zoom and she's like, I really think there's supposed to be a way that you can adjust the text size. I've never run into this before. And I'm like, I haven't either. The three
not
of
with
us,
a print-ready PDF though. Like that's the thing.
I've never been sent a print-ready PDF for them to read. You know, I've always been sent one that's huge letters because they're fucking reading it. You know what I mean? And she's expecting that. And then we get going and she's really good. She's great.
Good.
It's going well. We you know, maybe 45 minutes into it, one of these randos, because I'm building a house, my phone rings off the hook now with scammers because I'm like in public databases. One of these randos calls, and sure enough, some combination of that iPad getting signed into my account. Yeah, you better believe that turned my do not disturb off on fucking everything. So my pocket, my Mac Studio,
computer,
and the fucking iPad, my speakers are off. I've done this before, you know what I mean? My speakers are off, but that Mac is like, well, fuck you. I'm going to play sound anyway because thank you, everybody. I can't have independent, thank you, Apple. I can't have independent do not disturb settings. So the phone rings. I'm like, oh my God. I reset all my do not disturbs. I'm so sorry, everybody. They take it in stride. My face is like hot with embarrassment.
Dude,
but we slide back into it. Stuff starts going. Fucking Marielle texts me like 30 minutes later, and you better fucking believe that Marielle is coded to go right through all my do not disturbs.
Of course.
And the text pops up on the device she's reading because I had to sign into the iPad in order to use it. And I'm like, oh my God, not again.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the last disaster. The rest of the day went perfectly fine, but I was just like starting from that point, and then like everything else was fine. We finished ahead of schedule. Met our goal for the day, and it's going to be fine now. But holy shit, what a pile of garbage! And then right before we're supposed to record the podcast, I'm like walking out here, and I see my Wi-Fi is glowing red instead of blue, and I'm like, God damn it, not now. So this is why we started late. So sorry.
It's always like, well, when it rains, it pours. You know, it's like always one of those fucking things. Yeah, I know. I experienced today also, not to that degree, but just a lot going on over here. My wife's a federal employee, so
if you don't know why that's significant,
I don't really need to say much else. So we're dealing with that, but. It's very stressful, and it's very I'm not actually that concerned with something dramatic happening. What I find stressful is the turbulence of it all, like the up and down and the back and forth, and the just do this. No, wait, don't do that. Wait, do this now, but don't. Hang on. Like we don't know what to say.
Exactly.
Like,
even if we accept for sake of argument that this is a legitimate thing that the government should be doing, even if we make that fucking leap, the way it's being handled,
it's
my 9-year-old could do a better job in half the time. And this is supposed to be efficiency.
Yeah.
Career imbeciles.
So, and I'm teaching. We're near the end of the term here, so things are pretty busy with that. And yeah, I don't know. It's just fucking February, you know? Like, it's just like, I don't know what's going on this year, but like New England February is coming in hot. Like,
We've had a rough winter
just
too.
pushing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's not even just like the weather and the snow. Like, we've had a buttload of snow in the late winter here, but like, it's still just that like, I can't really. My kid needs a playground like blood in his veins, and I cannot take him fucking anywhere because it's freezing.
Yeah.
And everything's covered in 10 feet of snow. And
it won't go away because.
And it's windy as shit. Like, it's awful. And we're all feeling it. Fucking sucks. So today was a nice, 40.
Yeah.
So
our first day over the temperature of 29 degrees in about a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the snow here is wild. It's like, we're in that it's going to stick around until it's gone forever kind of thing. Jesus. And it all slid off my solar panels today. Scared the daylights out of me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
like,
what was that?
So like, do you remember the people in New England talking about the earthquake like 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago?
Oh, I think I did hear about that.
Yeah. So we had a small earthquake off the coast of Maine. And like southern Maine near Portsmouth. It was right off, like directly east of Portsmouth. So it hit Manchester, and I felt it at my desk. I was on the phone with somebody at work, and it was like, hey, are you experiencing something in your home right now? Because I am. Because like everybody was just like focused on the call and then went like.
Yeah, the collective pause all happened. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Yep. So then today... Yeah, I'm sitting here at my desk and I can see into my bathroom like across the hall. And it's like I can see the sunshine in the windows. Is in the afternoon, so it had like been cooking all day and just slid off. So the whole house, right? And then on top of that, because the sun's coming in the bathroom window, it's like flashing, right? There's like light and dark. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this, right? For a split second.
Here's something you couldn't be used to.
Yeah, like no lights are on because it's the middle of the fucking day. Yeah. Why is it getting dark? Why are there lights flashing in my bathroom? Oh, it's the snow. Like it's just I had this very tense instant.
Wow.
So that's the deal. I don't know. It's it's fucking February. So
yeah.
It's fine. Work is nuts, and I took on a bunch of stuff that I didn't realize was going to be as big as it was today.
Ooh, so, okay, yeah.
It's voluntary. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. I'm taking a certificate program in generative AI, and it's actually pretty good.
Oh, cool.
Do you know that it took ChatGPT or OpenAI 2 months to reach 100 million users?
Nope.
2 months.
I don't know a lot of statistics about them. So.
It took Spotify 11 years to reach 100 million users.
Okay, now I have some perspective.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts, right? Even Facebook, it took like 5 years, 4 or 5 years or something like that.
Sure.
2 months, 60 days. So
yeah, it's a different world.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Anyway, coming in hot tonight.
Yeah.
And yeah,
what are we doing? What are we doing? What is the tone control? What's happening in tone control world tonight? I got that on like the 5th try.
That's how we do.
Yep.
We can talk about our new hat. It says, all rig, no gig.
All right, I can get behind that. Yeah. I have, I guess they're a little out of frame right now, but all of my rigs adorn this wall. And it is a rare day when they get played. That's for sure.
The thing is, this is a Walrus Audio hat. They sent me a coupon. They were just like, hey, you haven't shopped from us. Here's 20% off.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, like that's a good deal off a pedal.
Yeah.
Brand new, right? Maybe I'll get a pedal. I just bought this guitar back there. Like, I'm not going to buy a pedal. So I bought a hat and a shirt. And the all rig, no gig shirt was sold out that I wanted. So I got the hat and I'm feeling it.
It's a good hat.
Got a skeleton wearing a beanie.
I like the embroidered patch thing is very cool. You want that quality kind of hat feel, Yeah,
it's nice.
Absolutely.
Anyway, all rig, no gig, except I have a gig coming up in about a month. We'll be in Worcester.
My parents are doing a bunch of gigs now. They're
Awesome.
they're doing so now that they're in like full retirement, they like unretired their music selves
Oh yeah.
pretty hard. Like they're in
That's
with like
great.
a booking agent. They basically have
Whoa.
somebody who works for them and then takes a little cut. They're not like it's not like a big money making thing, but they want to play, right? And so they do
They want to do it for real.
they do like covers and mix in their originals, they have the huge catalog of songs that they know. So they're doing like
Yeah, they've been doing this for decades.
the kinds of places are like, I mean, sometimes like a coffee house kind of thing if they get that going on. And there's been some open mic things that they sort of touch on, but that's not their favorite thing. But doing like full on set performances at like assisted living facilities, like stuff, places where people who grew up with with a lot of the songs that they know and play, right? Some of them are like, I don't know, there's like a different word, like community living place. Like it's not assisted,
I know what you mean.
but it's like when, people who don't want
supervised
to, they
kinda.
don't want to take care of their own house. So now they're in a condo and there's like sort of community facilities and there aren't a bunch of kids running around. You know what I mean?
Like a 55 plus.
Right, exactly. I think community, I forget, there's anyway, there's a term for it.
I know what you mean.
It's so all of this stuff, they're hitting all of them, and got one coming up this week on Wednesday. They just came off of one. They had like a Valentine's Day gig that they did, and and adding dates. They were just talking. I was like there. They picked up Aria's because I had this session today, and I went to go pick her up afterwards, and she was like on the phone booking another date.
Booking gigs.
Yeah,
Damn.
exactly. So that's
awesome.
their job now, I guess.
Way to go. I love that.
Yeah, and
really
I mean,
cool.
I guess I don't know if it's worth describing to the podcast audience, but they do a variety of songs. They're basically like acoustic guitar and a pair of voices and occasionally some hand percussion kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And they do arrangements of old and new songs. Yeah, I don't know. What do you want?
That's so good.
Yeah.
We do a cover of Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah.
And we do like
song.
a rock version, but it's like that's a really, really good song. And I think like there's a lot of song in there to arrange. I bet your folks would have fun with that one. But that's great. I love that. My parents are like on the brink of retiring. They just bought a house and we saw it for the first time. So now it's like I can tell my dad is just wants to abandon everything and like go. They have this new barn the house has a barn on the property. And my dad's going to turn it into a shop, like a proper big time shop. And he's like so stoked for that, obviously.
Like wood turning and stuff, right? As I remember.
Yeah, so he's been a woodworker like my whole life. Got into wood turning in more recent years, probably in the last 10, but in the grand scheme. But yeah, he's got a humongous lathe. Like all the gear is going to need to be freighted to the new house. It's that intense. A lot of like cabinet making gear, even though he's not a cabinet maker, but it's like that kind of stuff.
Kind of stuff, yeah.
He's been collecting and making stuff since I was born, basically. So almost 40 years. So yeah, he's going to build like a proper big time shop in a barn that used to have donkeys in it.
Donkey barn.
Donkey barn. Now we know. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's what's going on here, dude. Yeah. It's what's tomorrow? Tuesday? Yeah, I don't know. Nothing going on.
It's Tuesday. All right. I feel a lot better. Thank you all.
Yeah.
This is
Hey, I
therapy,
heard something
right?
funny today.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, Tuesday, my kid's got a dentist appointment. He's 2.5.
Yeah.
So that'll go about as well as you think it will. But
yeah, I've been there.
I saw a funny thing today that said, you're paying to go to the dentist's office. Go ahead and fart in there. Go ahead.
Like, do you think they'd say something to you about it?
Go ahead.
It's like you're challenging them. Go ahead. Call me on it.
Go ahead. You're going to tell me? Yeah.
The amount I'm paying you. The amount dentists make.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So anyway, you want to give some shit away?
Yes.
I like that one.
That's a good one, right? And we'll never know what it was. Because now it's a mystery. Yeah. So, okay, the giveaway that I just remembered to shoehorn a description of into the last episode, I just remembered within 24 hours enough time this time to do the thing I said I was going to do and figure out what the theme is. And now that we're getting into it, I'm like so happy that we finally coalesced around this idea, because it's like so clear now that this is the right way to handle these things.
Yeah.
So I threw up a poll in Discord yesterday, so that it completed earlier this afternoon. And I was like, we need a style choice, because the next riff contest is going to be do a riff in the style of this band or whatever. And I forgot to collect any ideas for what those bands were, so I just fucking made it up. So what were the choices? I said Jimmy Eat World, The Beatles, AC/DC, or Tool. I was trying to come up with some different fucking stuff.
Pretty
right?
wide range here.
Yeah. And at first, it looked like the Beatles wasn't going to get any votes, but that's why you don't review the results until the end. Anyway, the winner was Jimmy Eat World, which I was pretty happy about, because I'm pretty sure that is the easiest that I was going to be able to match style as far as a drum is concerned to feed to everybody to play on.
Yeah, like you chose Tool, and somebody's gonna want you to make like a 19/8 time signature.
I was like, don't pick Tool. Don't pick Tool. They didn't pick Tool. Now that I've said that, though, that's definitely what's going to happen next time. But anyway, whatever. I'll figure it out. So, and then in the few minutes that I had after because our session wrapped up a little bit early, I threw together a quick drum set. A drum recording thing in the style that I feel is pretty Jimmy Eat World. I think I nailed it.
I think you nailed it. Yeah. I saw the poll results come in, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll like get started on this.
Yeah.
And just like Jimmy Eat World's a humongous influence for me. And
I didn't ask you, did you come up with your own drum beat, or were you just writing a riff? Oh, okay. Oh, so you were okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like in the middle of the day today, I was like just having a tough time, and I was like, I'm going to take 20 minutes here to myself and just.
Hell yeah.
A lot of times I work through lunch, so I just like take a little bit of time at some point in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, it's Jimmy Eat World, and anyone who knows me knows that that's one of those essential lore bands for me. Like that's a Derek origin story band, and so it's really like ingrained in me to play music like that. So I was like, cool, I can easy, like I'll do that. And I was thinking. This was before you'd made a drum thing. So I was like, oh, let me just like noodle around for a little bit. And I was not feeling it at all. So I put it down and then saw that you made the drum loop, and I had some time after work also. I was like, I bet I can shower and then record a Jimmy Eat World riff. And I did.
That's a good sign that the drums did come out good, because that's the thing, right? Like it wasn't coming together, and then this little thing changes and it makes it easier. So hopefully that's gonna hit for everybody else too.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. So we were talking last time. The deal is, I think maybe the TBD on the finer details, but it's like we're not choosing the best riff anymore. Like we're gonna rank as far as like who did the best job, but the big prize is not going to go to number one.
Yeah.
So your goal is to just participate.
Yeah.
And listen, if you don't know Jimmy Eat World or hate Jimmy Eat World or don't want to write in that style for this thing, that's fine. Like you don't have to do that. And we're just kind of giving some structure if you want it. So do whatever you want.
I like that
Tool.
feel.
I don't give a shit.
I would love if you played a Tool song on top of this drum beat. I think that's fun. And right, exactly. So I think we should do kind of an informal vote that just says pick your favorite. It doesn't have to be the best one. Pick your favorite, you know what I mean? Because I would think that would be fun. And I think we should, and I think we said this, right? Let's send like a little swag bag to whoever gets the favorite, right? Some tone control shit, some koozies and stuff, and stickers. We have, what was I about to say? And then the actual winner for a prize will be randomly drawn from the participants. So everybody's got equal footing. And this also means that because the vote is not the heavy thing, it doesn't really matter if we talk about them and stuff. I remember the last time we like played them on the show, and I was like, I have to keep my mouth shut, you know? Now I'm going to be like, I'm still not planning on like value judging them, but like I think I could say how much I think that sounds like Jimmy Eat World. Maybe I'll give them a 1 to 5 on how Jimmy Eat World your riff
on how
was.
Jimmy it is, yeah.
With no bearing on anything. Because if you get a 1 and it's still everybody's favorite, you know?
Yeah, right? Like it's 1, but you wrote a fucking banger Simon and Garfunkel song.
This is outstanding.
Yeah.
I love it.
So yeah, I threw a Jimmy Eat World thing together, and it was actually a lot of fun. And one of the things that I feel like I've not practiced as myself as a musician is to say like, I'm going to write a thing in the style of so and so.
Yeah.
And I know some people who can do that, and they do it really, really well. And it's really impressive to see. Like, oh, I was listening to this so and so, this whatever song, and I wanted to try it myself. And yeah, it sounds pretty informed by whatever they're referencing. But as a starting point, like to build your own music from, that's amazing. So
absolutely,
yeah, that's
a big session player skill too.
Yeah, yeah.
To be that, practice that adaptability, really powerful. Yeah.
Did you have a minute to mix mine down?
No, I actually just scrolled up and I was trying to see if
I put it in our Dropbox. I put the stems in our Dropbox.
I was looking in Discord thinking you might have.
Oh, sorry, no, and I can't do it now because I'm using Logic at this moment. But
it will mess up my microphone if I try to do that. I could still like play it. I was gonna play the drum loop.
Yeah, do the drum loop.
All right, so here's the thing that y'all be playing on, and somebody asked me to put a count in on the front of it. I really should have realized that would make it easier for everybody ahead of time rather than forcing people to learn how to use a DAW. Somebody did that. I think Rabbi Bob did that for me while I was making dinner. So anyway, whatever. I'll post it. So here's what the drum loop sounds like.
Hell yeah.
I should have chose a different snare drum. Hearing it back now that I have a second to look at it, that's
it's fucking smacking is what it is.
I need a woodier, girthier snare drum and less crack, more douche. I think would be a little more Jimmy Eat World.
It sounds like that sample to whatever that is, hitting the living shit out of that snare drum.
Yeah, that's the
right?
that's the Terry.
Like it sounds like
that's the Terry Date Deftones snare. It's like my favorite snare, but it's not appropriate for everything.
That snare is like, it just cuts right on through, doesn't it? I heard it on my phone. Like I was just out of the shower. I was like, oh, Justin posted the thing, and even then, the snare is like, fuck.
Whoa. I should remix that and change the snare sound. So tomorrow morning, before I get started in some other stuff, I will mix down a better version with a more Jimmy Eat World appropriate drum sound, and put a little count in on the front of it. And I will post that in the giveaway channel so that it's pinned and nobody's going to miss it. And so I will make sure to make it sound a little bit more like it's supposed to. But anyway.
Nice.
And I'll mix yours down too, and we'll throw them together.
What is it, like 16 bars or something like that?
I think so. I think that's where I landed. Do you think I'm on the right track with it? Whenever I do these, I end up with 2 distinct sections. Is that cool for a riff thing, or should I just do one longer thing?
That's how I always did the pedal demos in like 2 sections, like an A and a B section. And I like it because it gives you a chance to do the transition, like the from the verse to the or whatever, the song part to the next song part. That's fun, and I think that's where bits of songs really show up. Like that's where that's what takes the most work. I find a lot of the time is how to get from one spot to the next. But no, I think it's cool. I don't know if it's like I want it to be longer because I just want to keep writing and playing music, but that's not the goal. So.
Right. It's like the longer I go with it, the more it's like, well, now I'm asking you to make a song instead of just a riff, right?
Yeah.
But I think that, a little flexibility, like it feels to me like the second part of it is chorus and the first part of it is verse. And especially with Jimmy Eat World, and maybe as we go through, as we start doing other styles, maybe it won't feel appropriate to do that. For Jimmy Eat World, like I think that's part of the style
I agree.
is to have two distinct parts. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I think we're going for
Yeah.
it, but we'll see how it
But
evolves.
also open to feedback on this from the community. So if let us know. Hop in Discord and you can tell us if you hate our giveaways. We don't have a prize picked for that big time prize. We could think about that a little bit.
We should look back, like, what have we've done Rattlesnake, we've done Stringjoy, we've done Honey Picks, we've done like just Reverb.
Just like Reverb gift cards.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know, at a certain point we're just going to have to start
Stringjoy
cycling these again. So maybe we just, what's the one that we haven't done in the longest, and maybe we'll repeat
question.
something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, we'll figure something out. If there's something that you're like, hey, did you guys see this cool product? Want to give that away? I'm absolutely open to that. We did just give away the Canalia in the last riff contest, and we can't do a pedal every time, but
that would be way too much work for Sean.
Well, yeah, but also like I'll do some pedals. Like I would love to like just fucking like a SD1. Who doesn't want an SD1? Right? Yeah. I wouldn't mind one of those. I've never had one. But like I'm not going to go buy one today, you know?
Right. Yeah, there's some small kind of classic pedal sound things, I think.
Or even some other accessories. I'd be down to talk about pedal boards, things like that, other guitar accessory things. So yeah, sound off in the Discord.
Yeah. All right.
What else we got to talk about?
I don't know.
Well,
How's the guitar going?
It's good.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, pretty good. I practice a lot. Actually, the Voltor, as expected, has brought me back into like wanting to play a bunch of guitar. I had a problem with my Helix. I didn't talk about this on the pod, but hit me with a stinger.
All right.
Why don't you? Oh, it's a long one.
It's still going.
It's the two-part.
It had 10 more seconds on it. I decided to stop it.
Yeah. Anyway, so I had a problem with my Helix. There was an update a little bit ago with a few, like maybe one guitar amp and a few bass amps and some other stuff. So I was finally getting around to updating my Helix. And Helix Floor and Helix Rack and I think Helix LT have what are called set lists in the hardware. Or in the software. Yep. And set lists are just folders. So I think there's like 8 in the thing. So I had like all the factory stuff, but then I also had all of the bands I've been in while I've owned a Helix are all like still in there. So I was like using set lists by band, you know? So I like had all my Delaney sounds in there still. And then I started a new set because they're all empty. I just made a new set list for a Blockbuster Summer when I started that and started building my tones in there. It all works the same. It's just a way to organize. So doing the update, it was like, it gave me some weird error about like finding preset names. And it was like, could not find preset name, you know, click OK. Like kind of nothing, right? And I was like, okay. So somehow it erased all of my stuff out of my Blockbuster Summer set list. Oh. All the other set lists were like totally fine.
So it just nailed the one you're currently using.
So it nailed the one I use every week. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
So fucking right. So fortunately, I have backups. Part of the update process is to back up. So I didn't lose anything, but I was like, well, what the fuck? Now I have to do this, right? Now I have to like fix this thing that's very annoying. So I finally got around to doing that and it worked. I had to factory reset some bits and stuff. So that's all fixed now. But we have a Paramore set coming up. That's our Worcester gig. And Matt in the band had kind of been chatting to me about using AI to help develop Helix patches and using ChatGPT to design Helix signal paths. And I was like, that's not a dumb idea at all. So I start talking with ChatGPT about Paramore. And, you know, I'm just like lighting water on fire to do this, but it's kind of fun. I hate that aspect of doing this, but so anyway, so it's like, yeah, use like this amp paired with this amp. You could do a parallel or like a split AB path and merge it together and like da-da-da-da-da. And it's like giving me all this shit. I'm like, oh my God, we have we have discovered it, right?
Crack the code, huh?
We've figured it out. And so now I'm getting in there like really fiddly with EQ and stuff because it's like, you probably know this. I don't. But it's just telling me like, yeah, in this little range, sometimes guitar is not great there. So bring that down a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So now I can, because I have all that post-processing EQ stuff in the Helix, I can just run it after everything. So I now have
because the Helix has
like
this
EQing.
capability, instead of just doing like the amp knob things and then being like, well, there's my granularity, I'm done. You're like, well, now we have the power of computers and
right. So now it's like, oh, everything above whatever gets cut by 1 dB. Everything below gets boosted by, you can do all this shit. So, and it does, it's subtle, but it takes like some of the harshness away in a way that I really like. And so I'm going to keep experimenting with that. If you have a tool like a Helix, I don't know, think about talking to ChatGPT about it. It's like kind of fun.
So it's now I don't really I've not done very much with ChatGPT. Honestly, like I put the app on my phone at some point and it's one of those things. It's like, I don't know, maybe I'll look at that someday. Yeah, it's just never like snuck in. And I
mean, I use it every day for work, let me clarify. So like I am I'm gaining experience with it through that, but I am using it personally,
which makes it easier to kind of transition. Yeah. I think the only thing I ever did with it was I think I was at my parents' house and somebody was thinking of a way, it was like some personal issue, right? Somebody's thinking of a way to ask another person about this thing. And it was in a formal context. It wasn't like somebody's anyway, whatever. It doesn't really matter what it was, but it was like, this is one of the things that the AIs are supposed to be good at, right? And it was like, so I just typed it like, give me a 2-paragraph summary of this or whatever, a description of this to feed us. You know what it was? Oh my God, I just remembered. It was that, because I said my parents are getting back into playing gigs. This was many months ago, and they were
an email to the gig guy?
They were talking to their lady who was going to be like a booking agent, and she was like, I need like a 1-paragraph on you guys. And they were like doing what the hell do we even say about ourselves? And I'm like, oh God, I know your pain. Like this is the worst thing that I hate doing.
Perfect use case.
Wait a second. And so it was like, tell me a 1-paragraph on that. And then, of course we took it and like edited it to make it correct, but like, so anyway, that's the only thing I've done, which brings me back around to, when you say something like make a Helix patch that sounds like this Paramore song, does it know? Does it know what Helix is? And do you have to fill in any gaps or like how? So what does that prompt look like?
Proper prompt engineering, you would provide all that stuff. So I give it things like, it knows I play guitar. So I was like, I have a gig coming up soon. We're doing a Paramore set. Here are the songs. I gave it the whole set list.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm working with a Helix floor and I want to make a preset that will address this set list. Not just this song, but like the set. I need like...
And you feed them the songs and everything.
Yeah. And so then it gave me suggestions based on the songs. Like the songs are pretty different. So there's some mellow ones, there's some aggressive ones. So yeah, maybe not everything is going to be a JCM 800, but
like it was like, okay, and told you things to type into your, like it obviously it was able to figure out what a Helix is.
Oh yeah, it just knows. Let me pull it up actually.
Got it.
Yeah. Loading, hang on. Helix floor signal chains. Here we are. Okay. So yeah, I said I play guitar. I use a Helix floor and HX Stomp. I want to collaborate with you to come up with some creative and otherwise not well-known signal chains for Helix floor. So this was like before introducing the Paramore stuff and all that. So I said we do rock, indie, emo, like everything from the 70s through today. And so it's giving me stuff about like, if you want to do this sort of double-tracked sound, do this. If you want to use like a synthy fuzz thing, do this. If you want, it's very broad, right? Just sort of lo-fi or 80s hair metal or like big swings,
Yeah.
And so it suggested something and I was like, wait a minute, let's talk about split signal paths. Right? Tell me more about this. Tell me more about how I can use like a parallel dual amp thing. And so we talked about that for a while. And it's like, it gives you this. These are the advantages, all the pros and cons. with suggestions. So like an amp stack, dual amp blend. Goal, a more 3D amp sound by stacking 2 different amp tones. Path A, a Fender style clean amp into your IR. I told it I was using IRs that I prefer. Path B, Vox AC30 set to a crunchy tone with your IR. Use a volume block to subtly shift and blend dynamically with your playing. So you can use a volume block to blend between the 2 amps on the expression pedal.
Nice.
Again, like not something I would think to go try and do. And it says the result would be a unique amp tone that reacts differently to your picking intensity, adding depth. Awesome.
Yep.
Dry, wet, dry stuff, frequency split stuff. Then I give it the Paramore set, and it says like, so here's your goal considerations. Amp choice is probably JCM 800, Soldano, SLO, or the Rev generator. I really like the Rev stuff, so I ended up going with the generator. Purple channel, I think. Suggesting clean tones and edge of breakup would be Fender, Matchless, or Vox. Tube Screamer, a Timmy, a Rat, kind of for, pick your flavor for that. Modulation, it's like just some sparingly used chorus, reverb, and some delay, but that's about it. There's no like weird effects in Paramore music and stuff. Giving me layout ideas for snapshots. So it's like, if you want your snapshot to be this, I can teach you that. Song-specific adjustments, some stuff. What else?
Really thorough.
Really thorough. And so, Helix does that thing, Line 6, like they all do this thing where they don't say what the amp actually is. It's like,
you got to translate it.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, what is the Brit 2204 versus the 2203? Like which one is which? And so it's like, oh, it's the Marshall JCM 800. You'll want it for this. You want it for that. That's a good start for the Paramore stuff. Try these EQ ranges. Like it's giving me a, bass at 4 to 5, mid 6, 7, treble 6 to 8, and then sort of like tailor to whatever you want.
To your guitar. Yeah.
Yeah. I asked it about, I explained I send it to front of house. We use an in-ear monitoring rig that is independent. And I'm just going XLR out of the back and sending it to our Snake. And then that goes to front of house. So I'm like, what should I be cutting out? So it's suggesting stuff like starting at 80 to 120 hertz, just like scoop it out the bottom, basically. It's still thinking in the context of Paramore, which is interesting for this. But taming harshness at 6 to 10K. 6 to 10K. Low mids, cutting 250 to 350 by 2 to 4 dB. I didn't do all of this, but this is just kind of what it's suggesting. And then it's like, if this, do that. If it sounds muddy or boomy, cut 250. If it sounds thin,
that's good.
Cut 300, right?
Because like you said earlier, like all this stuff about where, guitars sometimes sound bad in this, but it doesn't mean you should just do it, right? Like I expressed to people talk about how to EQ anything. There's some EQs out there that the best ones for a beginner to use are the best because they have this sort of the words, right? Yeah. Where this range says boomy or muddy, and this range says harsh, and this range says presence, and they sort of label them to give you the idea. And I always try to remind people, like, look, I can come up with like positive connotation or negative connotation words for anything in the whole signal range, right? And it's important if they write muddy right around 200, that's 300 hertz, they're almost suggesting to you that you should be doing cuts there. But look, if your sound is too thin and sounds like hollow, you may need to boost there, And if they label it muddy, like just don't be fooled by that, right? And so this is great. Like if it sounds here, this is what you reach for, but you don't do it automatically without listening.
Yeah. So here's one: low treble, sizzle, and harshness, 4 to 6K. Cut 4.5 to 5.5K by 2 to 3 dB if needed. Why? This range can make distortion sound ice picky through PAs. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. PAs are really tough in the high range because they're so loud. Absolutely.
I keep activating Siri in my pocket by mistake. And then it's got,
desperate to redeem herself after all this great chat GPT stuff.
And then it gives me a TLDR and a table of the frequency, the adjustment, and why.
Wow. That's pretty cool, man.
Right? It's very cool. And it's just a jumping off point. And then I can be like, all right, back to Paramore. And it's like, yeah, okay, back to Paramore. It just follows you along. So I had it talking about like pre and post effects and other wet dry things, split paths. So yeah, it's been awesome. it won't actually make you a file to upload to your Helix, but you just go in and click it around and make it as it suggests. And then, your mileage may vary, but let it vary. Like that's the fun part of this is you can use this as a jumping off point. And then you're like, oh shoot, actually, I really like how, the JCM 800 sounds over the rev. Let me switch that. And it just gets you thinking about it a little bit differently. So very cool.
Very cool. I dig it.
I forget what got me on this, but I had a thing. My Helix is working now. It's fine, but it's been fun. So I've been working on this.
That was the only issue then. It just deleted the thing that you use.
Pretty much, yeah. But it was I have backups on backups. But
okay, good.
When there's a Helix update, the first step they walk you through is how to do a backup, and they make you do a backup.
Yeah.
You can't download it until you back up or something like that. But it's, I'm fiddling around with it. Sometimes with headphones, I tend to dial up gain too high when I'm just playing by myself because I want it to sound really big and really full and really awesome. Mm-hmm. And then you introduce a second guitar at practice and you're playing at volume, it can be a little too much. So I won't know for sure until I'm there. But it's cool.
That's an interesting bit about at first what you're saying, like just creative, unusual guitar tones. The blending between the two amp sounds thing is interesting, I guess, from the perspective of like maybe you're sort of doing the clean and dirty as a gradient instead of turning on a pedal thing, except it's two different amps, like stuff that you couldn't really do in real life. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. Well, this is the thing about AI outputs though, is like, that's a real suggestion and you can really do that, but it might not be a good idea. It might actually sound like shit. Like it doesn't know that. Well, it doesn't know that no one would want that.
Right, exactly. I was kind of thinking like, I don't know. I mean, maybe somebody would want that. I think in most cases when you're blending amps, like the thing it said about like the 3D sound, like the kind of wall of sound guitar, quad-tracked guitar stuff that happens in like hard rock and metal, most of the time what you have there is like I don't know, this is worth talking about, right? Oh, nice stickers.
Thanks.
Blockbuster Summer stickers for the listeners at home. Most of the time when you're doing that on a record, it's you're like quad tracking the guitars, right? So we basically have left and right, but then we also have two tones, and those are independently performed as well for extra thickness. But if you were going to try to replicate that, it would still be I would think it would still be the kind of thing where you kind of have a main tone and then you have a tone that's filling in the gaps. So especially if it's like a high gain thing, there's usually there's a lot of gain going on, but you need to keep it clean. Like you're getting a lot of your like pick energy and stuff out of that. So you don't kind of push it too far. And then the other one is quieter in the mix compared to the main tone, but this one is different. Maybe it's got a lot more mid-range hair, so it's less scooped kind of precision sounding, and it's more crazy, more out of control. Even if the gain isn't higher, it's a little bit more dynamic, and two very different things that then you can turn around and blend. You could totally build that inside a Helix and just be playing that all the time, I guess. Yeah. Does it have anything for sort of varying so it sounds a little like it has something to sound like a double track, right?
It does, yeah.
To sort of emulate that.
It has
cool.
It has a reel-to-reel double tracker, like a Strymon Deco type effect.
Right, this sort of wobbly.
Which is, oh my God, that's the best. And if you're running stereo, then of course it's like the biggest fucking thing.
Yeah. Those are so good if you can put them in actual stereo. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the stereo reverbs and stuff are just like incredible in Helix. And you're playing through headphones and it's this super deep and goopy and it's like massive sound. And then you realize, I'm not actually going to run stereo.
Not actually going to sound like that when we're out there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's fun. And like I said, the thing about LLMs, large language models, is they're not experts in anything. They're just really good at faking it in everything, right? So
they're very fast at finding info.
Very fast at it. And so they're predicting which word should come next based on the previous words that come before it. That's all it's doing.
It's like doing it one word at a time. It's like so tough to imagine, but
it's so insane to think about. But yeah. So when it's like, talking about Helix, like it has that context of like guitar and signal processing and like digital amp and all of that stuff just from internet research and from teaching the GPT. But when it'll get that stuff wrong eventually, like if you just kind of string it along too far, or you can give it a bad idea and it will pursue it, right? You can do all this. They call it a hallucination. So the AI will like start to get things wrong and start to make things up.
Start to feed off itself instead of the truth.
Kind of, yeah. So that's a tricky spot, but your prompt engineering can fix that, basically. The more specific you get, the context you provide for it, stuff like that. So, but this is all just on my free account, my personal ChatGPT account.
Oh,
so
nice.
like I'm not using anything fancy here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's killer.
Nice. I'm pretty
nice.
Be nice. That's pleasing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And it's like, well, and now, so we can jump to like thing of the week here, I guess, because it does segue. So hit me with a stinger.
All right.
And then, oh yeah. It's Long Boy.
I've got another 30 seconds here.
The halftime.
All right, it had that much more again to go. I think the pedal must have been that little doo, like that must have been the main deal there. Some kind of a chorus that can also do other wobbly things, right?
Probably some like Mobius or some kind of like
chorus
multi-effect
vibrato deal. Yeah.
So I don't know. Jumping to thing of the week partially here, I guess.
Or fully.
My recommendation, or fully. My recommendation is Nick Broomhall on YouTube, and I've been posting some of his stuff in the server lately.
Welcome back to Thick Riff Thursday.
Whoa.
God, I hate when they autoplay. That's all right.
So Nick here, he's in Florida, and he, let's see, he's got 45,000 subscribers, and he does like high gain metal stuff, progressive stuff on YouTube, and he's doing just like these small recording projects that are not songs, they're not demos, they're just riffs, and they're just, I'm going to write 16 or 32 bars, just for fun. It's not going to become anything, kind of like what we're doing with this Jimmy Eat World thing here.
Yeah.
And other riff contests. So I was like, oh, this is like such a perfect segue thing of the week connection type thing. So I've been watching a lot of Nick's stuff, and it's really cool because he's got these 10 to 15 minute videos just walking through his recording process, his Logic workflow, and it's all very easy to understand. He's not teaching you how to do it. That's the thing. It's just like watch the demonstration and the creative process of getting to the finished product and working on riffs and then going from zero to a full thing in 15 minutes. Like obviously it's trimmed down, but it's like, man, I want to be doing that. Like I just want to be coming up with like little guitar passages that are fully done. And it's like, it's not a song necessarily. It's not a, you know what I mean? It's hard to explain.
Yeah,
it's more of like an exercise.
I get that there isn't a word for what you're trying to say, and I know what it is, but like we need a word for that or something.
Yeah, it's like an exercise in writing in a style, or I want to use this guitar and demonstrate it, but it's not a demo for sale reasons. Like it's not a. So anyway, he has Thick Riff Thursdays. And every Thursday there's a video of just making some thick ass riffs, and it's great. And I think he's like using a MacBook and a friggin' what's the interface that you used to have, the small one, the Apollo?
Oh yeah, he's got.
2?
I think he's got the. Is it called the Twin? Right? It's the little one that sits on the desk. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just fun stuff because it's, I don't know, with the styles that he's doing, you can tell he's kind of leaning into cliche sometimes, kind of leaning into tropes of genres in a really fun way. That's not.
That's how you do it, right?
Yeah, it's like
experiment with that trope. Yeah,
yeah, and just really kind of you'll see him stumble on a creative idea, and he does this like, oh, actually, let me do that, and let me send it into this plugin, and he'll run you through the plugin chains and stuff, and so it's really cool. And I've been thinking about that type of project, and today I thought like, I bet I could have ChatGPT teach me how to use Logic for real. Like, I bet I can tell it, make me a learning plan for whatever, 6 weeks with gold, like whatever, I can make it up, you know. Give me a 2-week crash course in Logic, yeah. And it's up to me to follow it then, but it would probably be a good place to start.
That's pretty interesting. You'd find out right away if it had hallucinated something because it just wouldn't work.
Yeah, yeah. But with some of this more entry stuff, I think it's less likely to mess up. I don't know for sure, but it just crossed my mind as like, I see him doing some little tricks in Logic, and I'm like, what was that? How do you do that? I want to know how to do that. This seems really helpful.
Okay.
And I don't even know what to look up, you know, for...
Right, because you're like, you know, the Logic beginner's tutorial, asking the AI to help tailor that to you, right?
Yeah.
Like, be like, you know, here's my angle. Hit me with the stuff that, because I don't need to know about sequencing a synthesizer or something.
Exactly.
Maybe, you know. I remember the one of his that you'd shared recently about the Bill Murray riff. Anyway, the point was like, let's do because he did that. So that's the one of his that I've seen is let's do a Bill Murray. I did enjoy the way he must have 20 times as much footage as he packs into this video. You know, he gets something into like a 20-minute kind of size.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of shit going on in there. But yeah, he had a way of kind of saying something about what he's doing quickly without dwelling on it or doing a lot of like teaching, but it wasn't like hiding anything from you. He said stuff about like, I'm going to record my acoustic guitar over there because it's a little bit more not reflecty.
Yeah.
And, you know, he made this sort of comment and then he went and did it. And then, let's find this spot, you know, let's pick this sound out of our sample library or whatever, because I'm looking for this kind of thing. And then just the quick and fast editing.
I like the speed. Yeah, the speed at which, I know a lot of it's the video editing, but I like the speed at which he can do this whole thing, this whole project, like in a day or half a day or whatever it is. That's super appealing to me.
That's what he's practicing, right? That's what this is. Yeah. And it's like you said, it's the tropes and kind of the memes and stuff like that, the cliches, you know, that he's leaning into. Those are practicable. And that's once again, we're back at like, this is like a session player skill. He's practicing a shitload of session playing skills in doing that, you know?
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah. And a lot of it's like, oh, we're going to do this old school periphery thing. We're going to do this sort of polyphia thing or whatever these other, you know, artists and we'll kind of do that style. And like I said a minute ago, it's that like, I'm going to write a riff in the style of this artist. And he's very good in the Bill Murray thing. We can see this example. Like, oh, we need those little vocal stabs, those little accent things in there. And you can see him like, what do I even call that? Like, what is that?
You can see too that he has a very developed ear, right? Because I can listen to these songs a lot. Like I know how to listen to songs from a production standpoint.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's one of those things. Like, I don't know. Well, I'm not sure how much I've analyzed that particular thing, but it was like I watched his video doing a Bill Murray riff and was like, aha. Now I do hear those. You know, he has pointed out the things to me, and now I'm hearing them when I play the songs, and that is how he gets this feel. You know, it's not just because the main thing, you know, flipping between the acoustic guitar and the distorted guitar and stuff like that. That's kind of the main thing. But if you just did that part, it wouldn't sound like Bill Murray, right? So he really did find this core thing that's buried almost. And it's very cool.
Sometimes it's about like, we're trying this plugin today, or we're trying this sample pack today, or something like that. But it's all in the basis of like, we're doing Thick Riff Thursday though, and today the drum kit is this. And it's like not sponsored or anything, but it would just be like, we're focusing this today. And it might be a specific method or technique or piece of gear or something like that. So anyway, Nick Broomhall on YouTube. Yeah. Look him up. Thick Riff Thursday.
Sweet. Very good. I don't know what I should do here. I never have any fucking picks of the week. I don't know. my escape lately, well, for a long time, my sort of like downtime, I'm doing nothing else thing has been, and this follows on from when my retro gaming handheld device thing. I've actually switched off of that because I kind of it's a little old at this point. They're making new ones, whatever. But emulation on iPhone has gotten a lot bigger, better, started working in the past year or so. They kind of like, you probably, it was a little bit in the news that they allowed emulators in the App Store one day. So you can, at this point, there's a few, but you can also just put RetroArch on there, which is like the open source thing that everybody uses to host these things. So I I got myself one of these little controllers that sort of clips onto the phone, like it grabs.
Yeah, I've seen those.
It like stretches and grabs the thing. So I've just been using the phone because I was looking at like, oh, should I upgrade my little device here that's sort of getting a little long in the tooth, spend a couple of $100, or I've got a great screen right here with a super fast processor in it. So why not? And I've been really happy with it. And that's been fun. The controller I got is not a Bluetooth one because I wanted one that I didn't want to have to deal with the latency and wireless crap because I'm just going to plug the thing right in. So I got this this one that kind of fits in. It doesn't really matter which one. It was sort of a cheapy thing because I don't care that much.
Well, still, that's cool.
Still, it's pretty cool. And I don't know, pick of the week, Final Fantasy IX. I never played that one when I was a kid. It's the swan song of PS1. Okay. It was the last Final Fantasy before they moved to PS2. And with a lot of game console generations, they've really fucking figured it out by then, haven't they? And there's just like all the things, like everybody loves Final Fantasy VII, which was like most people's introduction to PlayStation 1, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, it's iconic for the way it looks, but it looks that way because they didn't know what they were doing with this, how to program games that had any 3D elements in them. And by the time we get to 9, it's like, holy crap, does this look amazing? Like they've settled into an art style that looks fantastic on the system and all this stuff. And the game is super holding my attention.
That's good.
It's lovely. So, yeah. And 8 was a slog. I think 8 had a good story, but it just, I was like, I just want to get through this. So anyway, didn't like the art style and stuff.
What's fun is playing D&D with ChatGPT.
Okay.
Let it be the DM.
Oh my God. And then when it hallucinates, everyone has fun.
You never know. Yeah. I was doing a little like, there's a particular GPT that I was using for this. I forget the name of it, but it was, you can do it with a regular a regular ChatGPT instance. But it gives you like, I think we talked about this once ages ago.
I think so.
It gives you sort of a prompt, and you can sort of steamroll that if you want by how you reply.
Okay.
So it's not exactly D&D, but you can say things like the example I give is it tells you you've entered a clearing in the forest, and you see a small statue shrouded by blah 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 blah. What do you do? And you say like, I approach it and it reacts. Like you can give it.
Oh, you give it the and.
You can give it the and if you want. Yeah. You don't have to though, but which is cool. So you can kind of have a little more control over a RPG experience like that if you want. And it's nice because it's just in your pocket and you can just kind of text back and forth with ChatGPT and play a narrative game.
This is coming back to me that we definitely talked about this. That is pretty cool. And it's human like, right? Because when you're playing in a group, like a good DM is going to kind of try to feed off of their players, right? And it's like the DM thing the D&D thing, I should say, of like, I want to do this. Am I allowed to do this? Asking the DM that, and it's sort of like, well,
we have the little metagame conversation.
Right. And let's get creative with this skill check I'm going to ask for you to perform this thing you just made up.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I ask my DM, like, so here's what I'm thinking. I want to do this. What is there a way for me to achieve? Like, what within my abilities, like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
So with ChatGPT, though, you just say, like, I'm doing it.
This is happening.
Yeah. So...
ChatGPT the improv master, right? Yes, and.
Yes, and.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right.
I think that's good. So, as I said, by the time this episode comes out, I will have shared the upgraded and intensified and betterified version of that drum loop with click count in so that you do not have to know how to do that in your audio recording application of choice, and make it as easy as possible. Pop that into the giveaways channel. And how long is this going to run?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
I think we dragged the other one out much too long. So
I think so too, but I do like giving people enough time to find time to be creative and record and write a little thing.
Yeah.
But we did give a long lead for that, but then on our like judgment of that, we also took a long lead. So I don't want to do that. So I would like to give people enough time to do the work, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe you're not familiar with Jimmy Eat World and you want to participate, so you got to go listen to their whole catalog for 2 weeks, right?
So we have 2 weeks between episodes. So this will basically become open to participate in, and this coming Monday, and then when
you hear this episode, it'll be ready to participate. We could give it until...
Do you think 2 weeks is too short? So it would be the 3rd when this comes out.
But then we're going to have to record on the 10th. You know what I mean? So
that's right. That's what it is. That's why we can't give people. So in order to give people the full 2 weeks, we basically have to, this is going to come out on the 3rd, and then we record on the 10th so that it comes out on the 17th,
right,
where we'll say, by the time you hear this, we are closing off the submissions.
Which
or
mean
there's no point to
close.
closing off the submissions because we're not going to record again until the 24th. Okay, so the answer is these last. Okay, here's we're making this up. We're assembling the car as we drive it down the road, right? Mm-hmm. So on the tone control, our riff contests last about a month. So what's going to happen is this is going to come out on the 3rd. And you're going to hear it. If you're not in Discord already, then you get a little lead time on the thing. But if you're not in Discord already, you hear that this is coming out on the 3rd. You can get into Discord, grab that drum loop, learn some Jimmy Eat World, and you have until we're going to record on the 24th.
Yes.
That is when we will cut it off and play them on the air and put them up for a vote.
Mm-hmm.
So you have from the 3rd to the 24th, basically. Or you actually can start a little earlier than that.
It's 3 full weeks. Yeah, you're good to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's plenty of time. And that gives us time to iron out other details and plan the next one.
Right. Okay.
And in that 3 weeks, let us know what you actually want to win.
Yeah.
So it's like, I won. And we're like, great. What'd you get?
What'd you get? I love it's like it's a surprise to us, the hosts, but not to the audience what they won. Wow, and the winner is so and so. What did you win?
What'd you get? God. That's
This is fun for me. All right. Well everybody, thank you once again for joining on this perilous journey that is the Tone Control Podcast. It was something. I'll tell you what.
We made it.
This was one episode, and
what
all that's left.
You know?
1 day in history. All that's left.
Sorry, I said what a day.
Oh, I expertly talked over you. So
this is the perfect way for me to round out my weird ass Monday. And on this weird ass Monday, we have done it. We've done a whole show, and we've got patrons to thank.
We do, and thanks to those patrons for furnishing our ability to do this things like these contests. If you want to support the show, the links are in the show notes. We are on Discord, we are on Patreon, and we have a newsletter. All of these things can be yours for the low, low price of looking down into those show notes and clicking those links that you will find there. Mm-hmm. And then, I'll play the music here. And oh shoot, push the wrong button. Hold on, wait.
Oh fuck! Stopped recording and deleted everything.
All right, now we're doing it correctly. So thanks to the patrons. Those patrons are, you guessed it, Rabbi Bob. Oh, I don't know how to say that.
Ela She,
Carson Ricketts, Matthew Fenslaw, Bryson Wolf, Brian Gower, B. Gow, 69420, Andrew Walsh of Andrew's Alcove, Sean Wright of Lollygagger Effects, who we still need to get back on the show as a guest. Maybe next time, I don't know. And maybe. King Radiance of Rhythm.
There you are.
To him we bow. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming, probably rightly, that it's a him. I don't know.
It's a king.
It's a king. That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
whatever.
Thanks, Derek.
Sure.
Sure, man. See you next time.
Sure, man. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.